I had been 23 on leaving New York. I was 50 now, and wondering, almost obsessively, what I would have been like had I stayed. I had returned, at long last, to see about my property, the house on the corner, just off the avenue, which, owing to its felicitous nature, I had always called the Jolly Corner, and which had passed to me after the successive deaths of my older brothers. It was empty now, that ancestral home in which I was born. And I felt drawn to it, as though compelled by some ineffable presence there. I found myself making solitary, secret visitations to it, which became ever more frequent and, how shall I say it, ever more strange. I had also returned, I suppose I must admit, to see Alice Staverton again. She'd been a girl when I had so shamefully fled to Europe. Now, in the afternoon of her life, she still possessed that same mystifying grace of appearance.
Well, tell me, what do you make of it all? How does your country impress you?
After so many years away, to tell you the truth, I am quite overwhelmed. The newness of everything, the bigness, everything is so vastly changed. I mean, it would take me 100 years to sort it all out.
Do you find it dreadful?
Yes, much of it anyway. People scrambling for streetcars as the panic-stricken at sea scramble for lifeboats. Those grotesque skyscrapers.
Sorry. Ah, thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, my room has not been rearranged yet to my satisfaction. Will you remind Mr. Swan at the desk about that?
Of course, sir.
Please, I will not feel altogether settled in until that's done.
I'll attend to it immediately, sir.
Thank you. Much prefer the quiet of Kensington. Of course, it's wonderful to see you again after all these years. You haven't changed, Alice.
You flatter me.
No, you're quite unchanged. You are incorruptible.
My dear Spencer, what a strange word to choose.
Yes, you're quite incorruptible. Like some pale, pressed flower.
Now you do not flatter me. My dear Spencer, I bear you no grudge. One lives as best one can.
What would have happened had I not fled, I wonder? What would I have been? Perhaps the house knows. I liked best to come at dusk. Then it seemed to me I could most intimately wander and wait, linger and listen, feel that other presence.
Should I ever have returned, I wonder, if it hadn't been for my property? My presence is required at the 14th Street place, as you will soon see.
Why on earth do you go there, Spencer?
Because I'm astonished to say I enjoy it. Apparently I have a most unexpected talent for this sort of thing.
You surprise me, Spencer. I thought you'd dedicated your life to collecting objets d'art.
Ah, but you're mistaken, Alice. There are sides of me you have never seen.
Shall I ever?
Perhaps.
And the Jolly Corner.
Ah, yes.
Will you live there again?
Perhaps. Of course, much too large for a bachelor, even filled as it is with memories of the past.
Ah.
Much prefer the quiet of my club.
Besides, could I ever live in this mad city again? They're after me to sell the Jolly Corner, by the way.
Oh?
Yes, a certain Mr. Wilkes.
Ah. Mr. Bryden, sir.
Davidson?
Ma'am?
What are they doing, actually?
Raising the Tower of Babylon. Actually, we're converting the building into flats. 14 families.
At an enormous profit, I may say.
Well, shall we go? Oh, perhaps I'd better lead the way. Along this way, thank you. Yeah.
With all due respect, you're not experienced in these matters, Mr. Bryden.
You're quite right. That's why I'm so meticulous. I've checked and double-checked. You're using too much copper.
Oh, impossible.
If you're right, you could save us a tidy sum of money here. Show us.
Gladly. Made my calculations on your plans. You run your pipes here and here. Were you to curve slightly throughout, however?
But that's impossible.
Quiet, listen to the man.
Bending here, turning there, and so forth, I estimate you can save 1/8 of a foot of copper at each joint.
Well, it sounds logical enough. I'll go over today with my plumber. I will not tolerate carelessness.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Perhaps we'd better go.
Oh, copper or no copper, Mr. Bryden? I'm going to make us a lot of money here. Yeah, I could make you even more, if you'd let me. Show me that other house of yours on the square.
The Jolly Corner? Never.
Why not? What's wrong with money?
Nothing? In its place.
Oh, yes, I know my place well enough. Right at the top of the heap, that's where. Oh, not your heap, of course, mine. Well, how about it? You sell?
No.
Ah, that's a real pity. You could have done something very smart there. Very smart indeed.
And what exactly do you mean by smart, Mr. Wilkes?
A handsome triplex with an imposing lobby, doorman in uniform. Something you'd be proud of.
I've said no.
Maybe you could talk some sense into him, miss.
Come along, Alice. Let's go.
Very well, Spencer. Good day, Mr. Wilkes.
Ma'am? Sir.
How dare he speak to you in that tone? He was impossibly familiar with you.
I suspect he thought he had found a kindred spirit in you.
What on earth do you mean?
An authority on copper? A saving of 1/8 of a foot throughout? You speak the same language.
I have nothing in common with that man. Nothing.
Perhaps you've missed your calling. Maybe if you'd stayed at home instead of going off to Europe, you might have started some awful architectural style and turned it into a gold mine. You might have become a tycoon of industry. Top of the heap.
Would you have liked me better?
My dear Spencer. I should have liked you in any case.
But he'll never have the jolly corner, that much is certain.
I suppose you can afford to be sentimental, Spencer, living in luxury on the gains from your other building.
Well, yes, you may put it so. But I would cherish the jolly corner no matter what. Finish your tea, Alice. We're going there. This is how I like best to come upon it. Gliding so, sticking smoothly to it, letting it take me in.
It's still very pleasant.
Yes. Monument to a better time than this. Our time. We're remnants, I'm afraid. Look, I was born just there in that room. Here were gathered the few chilled flowers of my youth.
I remember how busy it was. Now it is.
Waiting?
I should have said empty.
Ah, not empty for me. Furnished and lived in. Shall we?
Whatever's the matter.
I just had the strangest thought.
Yes?
For an instant, this knob felt to me like the palm of someone I was greeting, or rather who was greeting me. It's not an unpleasant sensation.
I do hope it was someone friendly, Spencer.
Perhaps. I don't really know. Tell you how powerfully it affects me to walk through this house. The mere sight of these walls, the shape of the rooms, the sound of the floors. Three generations of my family lived and died here.
Perhaps, after all, you may decide to live here.
I mean, I may decide to stay on for the sake of it.
Well, with such a house.
Ah, I might have lived here. Did you attend the funeral?
Yes, of course.
How forlorn, how lonely an event it must have been. Somehow I couldn't bear to come. cross the Atlantic for that.
Yes, of course.
I might have put in here all these years, and everything would have been different enough. I dare say, funny enough, that's another matter. This is my father's room. His picture hung just there. Were you ever in this room?
No.
It was just off the ballroom.
Do you remember?
Yes. Don't be alarmed. It's only Mrs. Muldoon.
You startled me. Sure, I'm sorry if I did. I was only cleaning the floor. I'll be finished soon enough.
Yes, of course.
I always finish before dark. Sure, it's black as a grave in here then. What with no gas. And I wouldn't want to be creeping around here in the evil hours with nothing but a candle.
Nor would I.
Quite so. Thank you, Mrs. Muldoon.
Well, if you're not going to live here, why not rent? Or even do sell?
Because I refuse. I have no reason. That's the beauty of it.
Not even a ghost of one?
Ah, ghosts, yes. The house must swarm. I should be ashamed of it if it didn't.
We are interested in the whole deep mystery of man's soul and conscience. There exists a huge psychic organism as yet imperfectly expressed. In terms of action or thought. One reason for much of our malaise as human beings is the fact that we are cut off from our past. This perfect part of ourselves. And yet, if we commune if we make the leap, if we yield, why then we can readily commune with this inner world. I am now ready to begin. I'm trying to make contact. I'm trying to contact the veil. The veil must part. To reach, to touch, closer, to reach, to touch.
You're quite right, Alice. It has become an obsession with me. I am consumed with the mystery of what I would have been had I stayed here instead of going abroad. What would it have made of me? I keep forever wondering. All idiotically, as if I could possibly know.
And why should you care to know?
But I do. Desperate. And it positively aches within me to the point of exasperation. Perhaps I should have stuck here instead of going abroad. But at 23, how is one to know? If I had stayed, I might have become something nearer to one of those American men who have been hammered so hard and made so keen by their conditions.
And do you admire them so?
Question of any charm in them has nothing to do with the matter. It's only a question of what fantastic, yet perfectly possible development of my own nature I may have missed. It comes over me that I had then a strange alter ego deep within me as the full-blown flower is. Small, tight bud that I just transferred into the climate that blighted him forever.
And you wonder about the flower? I do too, and have been these past weeks. I believe in the flower. I feel it would have been quite splendid, quite huge and monstrous.
Yes. Monstrous above all. I imagine quite hideous and offensive.
You don't believe that. If you did, you wouldn't wonder. You'd know, and that would be enough. You feel, and what I feel for you, is that you'd have had power.
You'd have liked me that way.
Oh, how should I not have liked you?
I roamed slowly here. I knew what I meant and what I wanted. A creature more subtle, yet at bay, perhaps more formidable than any beast of the forest.
Without my exile, I might never have been waiting all this time.
I see that it has spoiled nothing. It hasn't spoiled your being here at last. It hasn't spoiled this.
You really believe, then, that I am as good as the person I might have been?
No far from it. But I don't care.
You mean I'm good enough?
Would you believe me if I say so? Anyway, the other person is still you.
He's not myself.
I know I've seen him.
You?
In a dream, I've seen him as I see you now.
Ah, a dream.
Twice over, I've seen him.
You have the same dream?
The very same, twice over.
You dream about me at that rate?
About him.
Well, then, you know all about him. What's the wretch like?
How can one describe a dream? What an angry sound.
Yes. I imagine it sounds like battle.
Ah.
I say imagine advisedly, of course.
Oh?
I mean, I never actually heard a battle. Brother was fighting brother here. I was in Europe collecting.
Are you embarrassed by your good fortune?
Ah, yes.
Let's sit for a moment. Yes?
You think I'm a coward, Alice, as some people do?
I think you've not yet been tested. Perhaps we should go.
Yes. I've been away too long.
Away from what?
From him.
What?
I shall see him now.
Huh?
Yes, I shall.
So, you had the idea of this?
Of what?
Well, of what has happened? It must be that I was dead. Yes, it can only be that I died. You've literally brought me back to life.
And now I keep you.
But how did you know?
I've known all along that you were coming here.
You've known it?
I believed you would. I said nothing to you, but I believed it. I felt certain.
That I persist to me.
That you'd see him.
Oh, but I didn't. There was someone, some creature that I brought. Too horrible to pay, but it isn't me.
No, it isn't. Thank heavens it isn't you. But then it wasn't meant to have been.
No, that's none of me. Not even what I might have been.
Isn't the whole point that you'd have been different?
As different as that? No.
Shouldn't I like him?
That horror.
I could have liked him. I pity him.
You pity him?
He is unhappy. He's been ravaged.
But am I not unhappy? Haven't I been, you wanted to look at me, ravaged?
I didn't say I should like him better. He is grim and worn, and many things have happened to him.
He has a million a year. But he hasn't you.
No. And he isn't. Oh, he isn't you.
Mifo's down 10%?